Hey, this is Connor from the 2026 Spring Microcart team. I'm going to give some detailed descriptions on how to edit the GUI with the Ground Station, give some specific details on adding buttons and how you go about connecting functions in order to get some updated functionality. Um, to start off with, we got to find some of the source files. There's three main ones you're going to look at. So starting with the VM that's provided for MP4, if you go into the Microcart repo, it's in the Ground Station, it's in the GUI, Microcart, and then the three files you're looking for is mainwindow.ui, mainwindow.h, and mainwindow.cpp. This UI file is special. That's a Qt designer file. You can open it in text, but it's not recommended. The other two are just basic C++ source files, so we'll just open that in the text editor. Just visually, it's easiest to start with the GUI portion. So if you right click on this file, open with Qt5 Designer, should be set up on the VM already. It'll take you to this page. Um, and this is where you would edit the actual widgets and all the different things that you would visually see in the GUI. And then we'll get to connecting functionality later. So we'll start with the basic push button. So all of your options can be found here where you can filter through here. So just look for push button. You can click and drag this into the GUI, resize it, make it look however you like. One thing to note, the name is very important, and we'll get to that later when we connect it to a function. We're going to start this one with PB button test. Um, it's kind of standard practice to put PB or just an abbreviation of what the widget actually is at the beginning. Um, so PB button test, and then you can put whatever text you want on this. So we're going to go ahead and save that. And let's go back to the C++ source file, um, mainwindow.cpp. I have this set up. It says first to do here. So the first method I'm going to show you is an automatically connected signal. So Qt will automatically connect functionality by looking at this specific name, PB button test. You'll notice that matches this object name, PB button test here. So these have to match in order for these to get automatically connected. Main window is just the base class. So it's on whatever the name of your button is, and then underscore clicked is what it has to be. So this queue message box, this is just a simple information box. There's a couple different variations of this. There's like an information one and a critical one, but it's just basically a pop-up, and it will display this text, and then the title of it will be this. So we should see that once we build it. So this function here also needs to go in the main window.h file. It will need to be under the slots portion. There's a private slots under this main window class, so you will need to add it somewhere in here, usually add on to the bottom. So this exact name, just a void function. There's also private members if you have other variables that you need, but the slots is the one we're concerned with to connect functionality to the button. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and save this. To build it, you go to this directory here, back in the GUI folder. You open a terminal. So a couple things you can do: make clean. That will clean up everything other than the source files. So all of the built and derived files, um, they get wiped away. So it's a little easier to manage. I have noticed sometimes if you don't clean first, your updates won't go through with the GUI. Not exactly why that happens, but so then you can just do make. That will build all of your targets. Should take a little while after you clean. You'll notice a few warnings that pop up. Most of them you don't have to worry about. Um, uh-oh. Oh yeah. Okay, so we built our executable. You should see there's no errors. If there's an error, it's very important that you address that before continuing. So what this will do is it will build an executable in the root of the ground station. Um, so it's this ground station executable that's built. Um, so you can run that through here, or if you go anywhere in the terminal, you can type in crazy cart, and that will run a bash script and get the GUI running. So as we see, we have this new button here. If we click that, this button works. Okay, that's the queue message box. Okay, so let's try a different button, and we're going to also integrate a text box. So if we go back to Qt Designer, um, grab another push button. Okay, I'm going to name this one test button 2. Okay, and in addition, we're going to add a text box, which in Qt is called a line edit. So this is for inputting text. Put some default text in there. The name of this, we're going to have a test text box. Okay, so we're going to save that. Another thing to note, when you save in Qt Designer, it will save the default tab. So if you wanted to save on a different tab, so if we go to parameters and save it here, when you open up the GUI, it will start up on this tab. That's not super important right now. Okay, so back to the source file, working in this new button. First of all, we're going to define a function for this new button. This will be the actual logic that runs when you press the button. Note it doesn't have the same naming scheme as the first one because we're going to do something slightly different with connecting the signal. So we're going to grab a Q string, the text from our text box. So when you do UI, this will have all of the UI elements that we define in Qt Designer based on their name. So this text box, test text box, has to match inside this UI. And then we can grab the text with this function. And then we're also doing similar message box, but this time it's going to be critical. It looks slightly different. Um, yeah, this is the title, and this will be the actual text that we pull from the line edit. So I'm going to go back here just to show the default window. All right, so if we look through this function, I have two different ways to define it. The old syntax uses this signal parameter, and then like clicked. All the Qt buttons will send a clicked signal, and then this is a connection to a slot. The new way to do it, you reference your test button 2 by name, and then it is a Q push button is the class of UI element, and then clicked. This is a address to a function, but it's a signal that's emitted when the button actually gets clicked. So instead of having the parentheses, you would use this to grab the address of the function. And then main window, we're referencing the function directly rather than the slot, so it's slightly different. Again, you don't need the parentheses since we're calling an address to a function. So we grab this. We're going to go to their header file, and this also needs to be in the slots portion of our header file. So we're going to add this to the bottom. We should be able to see how it looks. This is what we should see when we start it up. I guess I'll start the parameters tab. So we're just going to do make this time. Okay, and then similarly we'll do crazy cart. And it starts up in this parameters tab. So that is just how we left it in the Qt design. So then if we go back to the connection where our new text button, or text box and button is, this is the default text. So when we click this button, it'll show that text, but this is the critical warning. You click OK. We can edit this text however we want. And then when we click the button, we should see that updated text. So yeah, that is adding a button, simple text box. There's other radio buttons in here, but all of these are connected to some functionality in the main window.cpp file. So when you're looking at functionality of the GUI, this is a good place to start. Towards the top of the file, we have a bunch of these connections. So this is connecting some signal from the UI to a logical function in this source file. A whole bunch of thread setup and other stuff can be found in this file. Yeah, so these are just all the functions that deal with the actual GUI logic.